Okay, so maybe I can briefly update on the latest developments that happened last weekend in Amsterdam. Basically, we had a hackathon organized during the during the weekend at the offices of Plugify, whose co-founder is Karen Grigorians, another friend and alumnus of our organization. 12 people, including 3 board members, were present at the meeting. The objectives of the internal hackathon were to improve the services and the features of the website and the intranet, one of which was basically to enable the election period to start. And in a moment, we're going to describe more about the election procedure, how it goes, and the online steps that are needed to be taken by the candidates. Another important update from the hackathon is that now the website has been put on GitLab. So basically, we have managed to make it crowdsourceable so that everyone in our community who wishes to contribute towards the development in terms of bug fixing, in terms of developing new features, etc., can now just download for the project and build. But we will definitely provide another session, informational session, on all the updates regarding that and how people can get involved. And within our plans is to organize a number of hackathons in the different locations of our community, so that locally people can come together and push forward with interesting proposals on how to improve our online homepage and intranet. But perhaps I can briefly introduce myself, and also the other members of the board can do so as well. My name is Borja Stukovsky. I'm currently the president of the alumni board, and I'm here joined with the rest of the members. We have Elena, who is our secretary, Berkay, our treasurer, Boris, the events and marketing officer, and Francesco, the communications officer. So perhaps each of you guys can briefly introduce yourself, and then Francesco can explain the procedure of the elections and basically how things will develop in the next 2 weeks. Maybe we can start with Lena.
Hi, I'm Lena. I graduated from Internet Technology Architecture, and I'm based in Amsterdam. So as secretary, basically you need to keep track of things and plan, basically. So like if just to be sure that everything is kind of on track. So and make a plan to do. We have events of initiatives that we know the steps and we don't forget something on the road. So, maybe next. But if you want more questions, you can contact me through Facebook or Telegram or whatever. I would be happy to answer any questions.
I can continue, I guess. My name is Berkay. I graduated from Service Design and Engineering. Currently, I am the treasurer of the EIT Digital Alumni Board. So as a treasurer, you mainly keep track of the accountant stuff. You need to talk to accountants and do the payments. Also, you keep track of the budget. It's kind of work like which you need to do something almost every week or every 2 weeks. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me as well.
Okay, my turn now. Hi everyone, I'm Boris, and I'm the events officer. I also graduated as Berkay from Service Design and Engineering, and I'm currently based in Eindhoven, the Netherlands. As an events officer, your main responsibilities will be, I would say, to support and enable local organizers organize events, local representatives, I mean, but also, for example, be the main responsible person for the annual gathering, for example. Take care of things like catering, venue, photographer, as well as agenda. Of course, for such a big event, everyone else from the team will be helping you as well. But in general, you're the main contact person for those kind of things. And for local representatives, what we're trying to do now is to establish a checklist of things, establish guidelines as well, how to organize an event, how to look for support from our side, and yeah, more or less that's it. So shoot me a question if you have any in Facebook, Telegram, via email, whatever. I'll be very happy to help. Thanks.
Yeah, then it's me. I'm Francesco. I'm the marketing and communication officer. Still undecided if I want to reapply or not, and in which position especially. For the marketing and communication officer, it's more stuff on a daily basis. So instead of being, for example, like Berkay, a huge workload for every week or every 3 or couple of days, here it's more like short breaks on a constant time. So almost every day, if you want to keep in touch with the social media, if you want to post on different channels, holding the different channels like Facebook, Telegram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and so on, preparing the communication, so like the newsletter, also managing the different channels, reading the emails, and also for the marketing, so preparing some visual stuff for the board and for the managing of the community. It's a very fun work, and you learn a lot, especially if you're interested in social media. And I guess in every of the roles of the board, you should definitely think about applying. It's a lot of work, but it's definitely something that depends a lot on the amount of time and on the commitment that you push. So of course, if you have less time to devote and you're less flexible with your work, you need to keep that in consideration, that for certain roles it's more difficult, especially if you want to do social media and you cannot have a break from 9 to 5, it's probably undoable. But otherwise, it's more or less manageable. And I think the more we are growing and the more our community is getting older, the more we want to empower people and local representatives and everyone from our environment to take the lead and to act without us. So to create initiatives, and also for us to be a kind of a strategic board, so drive the lead and the vision of our community. So I think there was a brief introduction. As we already said, we have 5 roles open. We still haven't applied for the different position. The 5 of us, some of us will remain, some of us might decide to rerun, some might decide to leave. However, we have 5 positions, which are the president, so Borce, the secretary, Laena, the treasurer, Berkay, the events officer, Boris, and the marketing and communication officer, so myself. However, as we already said, if you're interested in helping the community in any other aspect without even running, you're more than welcome to do it. So we launched the application today at midday. If you go on our website at alumni.eitdigital.eu and you find the elections menu, you can go there and you have the guidelines, so briefly describing how the election will work, how you can apply, who you can vote for, how many people you can vote, when are the timing, and so on. And you can see the different candidates. At the moment, we already have a candidate for the treasurer, Anand. People can apply only if they're alumni. At the moment, we need still to validate with the governing board. However, at the moment, only if you're an alumnus or an alumna of our community, you can apply as a candidate and vote for the different candidates. So the application started today at midday, and will go on for 10 days till Friday the 12th at midnight. We will review then the applications in 2 days, on the 13th and the 14th, and prepare the actual voting. And from the 15th till the 21st of May, we will have the election week. So 7 days where people will be able to vote their favorite candidates, the people that they trust the most, the people that have a stronger motivation. And on the 22nd, on Monday, we will announce the winners. These 5 people will be the leaders of the community for the upcoming 2 years. And the most important thing would be that the people that may be interested in applying should be sort of available one of the first weekends of June, because we will have our board handover meeting where the previous board, so the 5 of us and the new board, will meet to discuss, to make a smooth transition, to close the year, to prepare the plan for the upcoming 2 years, to also set the strategy and the vision of our community for the upcoming years. And the new board will be in charge from the 4th of July to 2017 for the upcoming 2 years till the 4th of July of 2019. So yes, I would say this is more or less everything regarding the elections. We are here for another 10 minutes, so any questions you might have, you can just ask regarding the roles, regarding the time constraints, regarding the areas, regarding the elections and the voting. So feel free.
So while we're waiting for questions, maybe I can provide a few more details or additional information to better inform you of the process. As Francesco mentioned, starting from today, you are already able to submit your candidacy if you're eligible to be a candidate and be voted on later on. So what you need to do is you need to log in with your standard username and password to the intranet section, and under the elections menu, you are able to see the candidates list where you can click on the button apply as a candidate. And if you fulfill the criteria, you would be provided with a web form where you can upload a photo, where you can write your motivation and why should members vote for you. What is interesting to know, perhaps, is that during the period of the candidacy applications, so that means until the deadline of the 12th of May at midnight, you are able to modify your application. So even if you think you might want to change the text a bit, etc., you are free to do so, or withdraw your candidacy for that matter until the end of the application period. What is perhaps also interesting to mention is that the voting will be done individually by each alumnus or alumna, so they will choose one candidate per position, but you are able to run as a team with other members that might or are interested in running for this election. That means that within the text description that you have, you could potentially describe you're part of a team together with the other members, because we know that it might be perhaps interesting for you to emphasize those things, knowing that you have already worked with someone and you already have created, so perhaps it was a project during the master school or doctoral school, depending on what type of a member you are. You already might be familiar how it is to work with some other member, and you might want to decide to run as a team. So that is something that you are very welcome and free to do so. But the voting itself is done individually per team member, that is per position. What we also want to say is that in case you are not interested about running for a position, you as an alumnus or as an alumna have the right to vote for a candidate, and that can also be done during the whole period this week from the 15th to the 21st of May. One of the most important things that will happen in the transition period, which starts as soon as the winners are announced, is that a new business plan is prepared for the calendar year of 2018. So usually around the beginning of July, and this year it is on the 5th of July, a meeting will be held with the governing board. And as you may know, if you have read the statutes and bylaws of our foundation, the governing board consists of the EIT Digital CEO, that is currently Mr. Willem Jonker, also the education director, Mr. Anders Flutstrom, and the president of the alumni board. So that would be the new elected president. So that body is the governing body of the EIT Digital Alumni Foundation. And then the more operational or executive part is carried out by the alumni board. So one of the tasks and responsibilities of the alumni board is to prepare an annual business and financial plan, which is looked into around middle of July. And there the governing board decides on the available budget and on the activities that will be supported. But I see that there is a question, so perhaps Francesco, you can take care again.
Tibor asks, what's the skills you acquired and what's the skill you improved being a board member? Well, that's a good question, and that's definitely challenging, I would say. I think every one of us could probably reply because we will have different opinions. I would, at least from my point of view, I was really interested into social media and communication, and this gave me a lot of time and a lot of effort to learn more how these things work, and to also improve the way our social media are used, and to improve the way of communicating with people. So not like the tone and the different uses of the different social media. So communicating a way on Facebook, and another one on Twitter and stuff, but also on the organization of the work and the life balance. So especially it's almost a part-time job, even though if it is not paid. But definitely if you have a full-time job or also a part-time job, or you're still studying or doing a PhD, you definitely need to also allocate some time for this thing, and to be able to collaborate with the other board members, even though if they're in different locations and in different time zones, like it happened a lot of times with us. But definitely was a very learning experience, I would say.
Yes, perhaps maybe Lena, Berkay, Boris, you can also mention what you gained from this experience so far.
Well, I can say for myself that yeah, I've been involved in organizing events for a while now, but doing it in such a scale, for example, as the annual event, or what Francesco explained about trying to coordinate all the different locations, time zones, people, and so on, was really beneficial for me. I really like bringing people together. So from that perspective, I think I built up a lot more knowledge. I've seen different situations, what can actually happen, and you'll be very surprised what kind of things might pop up last minute when you try to organize an event. You also network with a lot of people. You meet with a lot of people, make contacts, also EIT people, but also external people, and they might be very helpful for you in the future from personal or professional perspective. So I think for me, the event management part was the biggest thing. Of course, teamwork as well. We are all different, coming from different countries. We all have different understanding of what teamwork is. For example, having discussions and making decisions. I think that was also quite a big thing for me. And yeah, I think that's it more or less. Probably there are a lot of other small things here and there, but those are the two main ones which pop up.
Yeah, for example, for myself, like most of things, I also agree with Boris and Francesco. But for me, also there was a different area for finance. I kind of learned lots of things related to Belgium companies, like how the finance works, how the tax system works, like what can we do, what are we obliged to do. Or also, we during startup days we sold the tickets via EIT Digital Alumni. So how Eventbrite works for the payment stuff, like how do we invoice people. So that was a different experience for me as a treasurer.
I agree with everything that was said before, like networking, with learning to work with remote teams, and so on. But I don't know. For me, the biggest thing was more like confidence, like the concept of I hated public speaking, and now I hate it less. Like I do see the value of it. Yeah, I think it's like the good thing is you still have a structure with alumni, but you can make it your own. So it's like you will learn what is important. Like I mean, you will learn what you need to learn for your role, but also for yourself. So it's pretty interesting experience.
Before Bartek says his part, I would say, Tibor, the coolest thing for me for the digital alumni is that it's basically a platform where you can use to do whatever you feel like, in a good sense. Like you have some skills, you have some stuff you want to improve in a certain aspect or certain environment. It's definitely like a platform that you can use to experiment and challenge with that. So if you're really interested in a topic or in an environment, or you would like to try out your skills for organizing events, or for working in a group, or for communicating, or for keeping the finances, it's definitely a very, very useful and learning experience.
Yeah, like the alumni, like the association. I mean, you are volunteers, so the idea is also to empower, like make it like useful. Like so it's not just you're not managers and like something. You actually build something. So that's pretty cool.
Bartek, from your point of view, maybe?
Yes, maybe I can just say briefly a few points. I think I would probably be able to give a really long answer, because those few months have been really exciting and eventful, and I think I've grown personally and professionally on so many levels. But a few things that I would probably like to highlight are the fact that we are in an environment where we are all volunteering to do a certain thing, and we are not motivated by financial or materialistic gains towards the contribution that we do, but we are basically motivated by the desire to make something for the benefit of a broader community. And on this journey or adventure, you face a lot of challenges in terms of developing the vision and the let's say developing the of something that requires a broad and coordinated action with many stakeholders, with many players, with many partners, and with many members. And it is a really interesting environment to be at, so that you are actually more of a motivator and an inspirer to make something happen out of nothing. And if you get involved, and as Tibor, I know you were involved a lot in the organization of startup days, I think you already have first-hand experience into what it is like to be part of the organizing team, for example, of an event that requires a lot of coordination between not only the EIT Digital Alumni community, but also the EIT alumni in a broader sense, and with representative from the CLC, from the staff, etc. So you can imagine that being part of the board throughout a whole period is more of a long-term task that requires both longer-term vision in terms of the activities that could be developed or the types of things that could contribute and help out the community, but it also involves a lot of operational tasks on a day-to-day basis. So to try to come back to the key highlights, you definitely grow in terms of organizational matters, such as teamwork, such as organizing events, such as discussing, negotiating, confronting, arguing, debating, etc. But you also develop a lot of skills in terms of leadership or in terms of strategy and longer-term strategic development. So I think these are the few points that I would like to highlight, but probably I could provide you with more answers if you have something in concretely that you would like to inquire further.
Yeah, Bart is right. And one of the things I like the most about this position is that you can directly jump so many states and so many levels on or hierarchies within a company or an organization like EIT Digital, because you're directly talking to the CEO, directly talking to the head of education, you're directly talking to the head of communication. So not only it empowers you a lot with colloquial and writing and emailing skills and public speaking skills and whatever you want, but also it allows you to in a way feel the power and know that what you're doing it's worth, and somebody will be taking care of that and will care about that. It's because you can definitely prepare something and address the highest person in your organization without going through 100 stages or connections. So it's definitely something cool. Okay. Any other questions from the people online? We give you some more minutes.
I think what is also important to mention is that in case someone feels that they are eligible, such as they're graduates, etc., and online they are having difficulties accessing the application, the candidacy application page, etc. It's really important that you get in touch with us in any possible way, either by email or social media, so that we can investigate the matter, whether there is a technical problem with the profile and your status within the system, or if there is another matter.
Yeah, good point. How much time do you devote daily to the alumni board? Another good question.
I would say as much as it is needed.
Yeah, I would say as much as you can devote. I like referring to what I was saying before, is that like where it's an environment where you can play around and do what you feel like. I think is that exactly on that perspective. So the more enthusiasm, the more commitment you have, the more time you want to devote to this, and the more you believe into this project, the more time you are able to devote. And I guess there's not a limit. You can devote like really your life to this. I would say that a minimum of a couple of hours, a few hours around the week are needed, at least for replying to issues, emails, especially when it comes closer to events organizations, or very important things like the elections or the board handover or the annual meeting or the graduation, the kickoff, and these kind of events. Personally, I think I devote, I don't know, probably from 1 to 2 hours per day. It depends, at least to prepare the content and plan it and then share it across the media and track the evolution. In a way, social media, it's a very boring thing because you always need to track them, but of course it depends a lot on the tools you use, and for other roles might be less.
Well, I was spending around 1 or 2 hours per week usually. I mean, if there is a event after event or something, yeah, sometimes more, but usually 1 to 2 hours per week is doable what I was doing. And of course, also going events is something else.
Yeah, I would say that we have a bi-weekly call. So it's around 1 hour, 1.5 hours, and then I also try to do a bit before and after about it. Of course, when the events come, you have to dedicate a bit more time, and also the traveling part. So, for example, when we went to the kickoff in Rennes or to the graduation ceremony in Stockholm, often it's during the weekend, but you might have to take a day off from work, which of course it's not mandatory for you to attend everything, but I think it's a very good opportunity to meet people and travel a bit as well. So I would say maybe like 2 to 4 hours a week tops, depending on the period of the year.
Any more question? Final 5 minutes.
There is always the possibility, of course, to ask us further questions personally, or also to use the discussion forum that we have on our intranet site. So there we can also provide answers to the most frequently asked questions that we get, or we could get in the coming days. But I see there is another question coming in from Xiaopeng. He's saying, during the year, what has been your most rewarding and frustrating moments so far? That's an interesting question. And maybe I will let the other guys say first, and then I can provide my comment.
I would say both times at the annual meeting.
Yeah.
Rewarding, I would say the annual meeting, seeing that the event was so appreciated, so many things worked out, people loved it, people participated, people paid for their flights just to come and meet friends and learn new things. Frustrating probably when a couple of things didn't work out as we planned, like for example the technical problems at the beginning, some things regarding the venue, some things regarding the organization that of course can happen, but some things like are unavoidable. But definitely I don't know, I have hard time finding a frustrating moment, or let's say at the end of the road you just find the cool things and the things you learned. I probably have nothing regarding that.
There is one when we lost the name tags. It was quite frustrating.
True. That was terrible.
Yeah, if someone found it.
Yeah. Buying 150 name tags and finding 20 or 30. That was really disappointing.
But I think most of the time you have a frustrating part is like normal, like in any event or something. So it's like it is not too much bad. So
perhaps if I can give my comment again, if I come back to the thing that this is all a volunteer work, if it causes frustration, I think there is hardly any motivation for someone to be involved in this. But what is important that you create the environment with your board members and with the different teams that you work with, be it at EIT Digital, be it at Crosskick EIT alumni level, etc., that you try to find a common language so that you can implement the activities that you want to do. And once you are at the stage where this is implemented, you will feel the satisfaction and the reward. And of course, the annual alumni meeting is one of the highlights, I think, that each of us has experienced, because you put a lot of effort months in advance to plan this, and then when things go well or almost well or pretty good, depending on what is your personal reflection on that, that kind of compensates for all the harder bits that you encountered during the along the path while you were organizing that.
Plus, on a personal level, I really liked how we managed to achieve some things, like, for example, inviting meals from us to so people that at some point were sort of unreachable, and then we had them there, or like also attending certain events because of your status, because of being part of the alumni member, like the EIT Digital partner event, or going to the parliament, or going speaking in public into new things. Like, it was really pretty important, I would say. And Xiaopeng did another question: are there plans to have more interaction and engagement with the industrial partners and startup community of EIT? How? I would say 100%. And we as also the governing board see a lot of value in that. One of the most stupid but also immediate ideas would be to engage the industrial partners as friends of the EIT Digital alumni, or also as partners of EIT Digital. They are always looking for talents and candidates for their jobs, so they pay thousands of euros just for advertisement. And they would be definitely glad to co-organize an event or host an event at their location or their venue, or ask one of their employees to present and to give a talk at one of our events, and in exchange to present and tell the people what are their job opportunities, promote their job openings. And we see definitely another value in that. And for the startups, they would be definitely looking for talents. For example, this girl from what's the name, Barca, of that startup, of Darina. Barca.
Sorry, my mic was muted for a moment.
Okay. What's the name of the startup of Darina?
The next big thing.
Yeah. For example, at the next big thing, they asked us to promote these job openings. We shared them on our website, and they found 2 people that wanted to work with them. So we are 100% sure, and we already discussed with them to have an event in this autumn where they will again talk about what they do, talk a bit about the technology, what's their business, like an event that we organized with distribution in Berlin, and also promote and they can promote their job openings, their internships, and in that sense, it's a win-win. So definitely, it's a model that can be achieved.
If I can just briefly comment there. So I think Xiaopeng, it is a really good question, and it is high on the agenda of the board, but also it should be on the next, because when we look at the broader development of the community, we believe that the first step was to build some solid base in terms of the user base, but now actually the interesting parts will come, that in addition to the growth that we need to have as a community in terms of members, to develop activities that are of interest for the different types of segments within our community. So I think that will be a really good and big challenge for the next board in the upcoming period.
And not only for the board, I would say, like inputs in this sense are welcome from everyone. Like the way we see the board, it's definitely like a strategic platform. There's people that are deciding what's the direction of the community. But we are not only welcome to open to welcome suggestions or direction or inputs from the community, but also like human power. And we don't think that the whole work or the whole weight of the community should be on our 5, but it should be more of a tree structure.
Boris unfortunately had to go, so perhaps we can make room for just one more question, and then we can provide any other additional info through our channels. So please, guys, from the rest of you that are still with us, if there are any questions, we would gladly provide you with some answers. Otherwise, we are really enthusiastic about receiving applications about all of the positions, and if there are any questions, never hesitate to let us know. And I personally am very much looking to an interesting board election period. If there are no questions, I would like to thank you for being part of this webinar. It is the first time that we're actually doing this, so at the beginning we had some technical problems, so apologies for any delays. I don't know if this will go or remain active or live after this call. Perhaps we can look into that. But in any case, thanks a lot. I wish you a nice evening, and hope to stay in touch with you soon.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
Bye. Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.